Hello, my name is Dr. Dempsey, and this is an educational program put on by the Allied Trades Assistance Program. This is a series of films that we're going to talk about different topics related to labor and industry. In the first topic, we're going to talk about workplace violence. According to OSHA, every year approximately 2 million people are assaulted or hurt on the job site due to workplace violence. Many people don't realize how high this statistic is, but it's actually probably minimized. There are probably many more people than even report having had been assaulted. This is especially true in labor and industry for a few reasons that we'll talk about in a few minutes. But we'll talk about the causes of workplace violence first. The first cause of workplace violence is alcohol or drug use. Programs need to have a clear alcohol and drug policy for reducing alcohol and drug use on a job site. Many individuals who would typically not be violent under the influence will become violent towards other members of their work team. That's true outside of work and also true on work. So it's very important to have a substance abuse policy helping reduce the amount of substance use both before and after work. In my other trade, I work in the Department of Corrections, and we often see many individuals who typically are very mild-mannered folks. Once they get something in their system, they wind up having some kind of violent altercation. The second thing we need to do is we need to realize that work is not about relationships. Many of the workplace violent offenses have taken place because people were either romantically involved together or they had personal issues that they didn't like each other prior to work and after work. It's very important if you are working on a job site that you do not develop animosity towards the person that you work with, nor romantic feelings for that person. Because since work is specific for just the job, what can often happen is relationships can create violent outcomes. And we often see that again in the prisons that I serve. The third factor that we see that's active in workplace violence is ego. A lot of times an individual will feel slighted by another person at work, and instead of being able to walk away from that incident, the person will then follow through and have a fight or a more serious altercation. It is extremely important that you have your ego in check when you get to work, because you are not there for your own personal fun or interaction, you are there for work. Now that being said, things happen at work. Relationships are not often peaceful. Sometimes there are abrasive interactions with other folks. And what needs to happen is you have to be able to walk away. OSHA recommends that an incident is stopped at the beginning. If you are noticing that you are having an anger issue with somebody at work, it is imperative, it is essential that you walk away. If you choose not to, it is then essential that your manager has a program in place that they will be able to identify people who have anger issues and either have them seek treatment or terminate them from their work. Because what is clear from both OSHA reports and Department of Correction reports is that initial verbal altercations often wind up in physical conflicts. And out of those 2 million incidents that happen every year in terms of workplace violence, there is at least 1,000 of them that result in homicide. So it is very important that there is a clear and distinct message to the workforce that violence cannot be tolerated. Now, if you realize you have a substance abuse problem, it is very important that you seek help, and at the end of this slide we will talk about where you can seek services. If you also realize you have an anger problem or some other problem that may be affecting your work, it is also important that you talk to somebody. Now, folks who work in the building trades are often very friendly with each other. And if you talk to the retirees, a lot of things the retirees will tell you is that they miss the camaraderie of the folks that they work with. But it is essential that you stop the violent cycle before it leaves the verbal altercation. Because if you do not, what will often happen is somebody will be hurt. And again, today is a very different time than what it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. If you have an altercation at work, that doesn't just stay there. Legal ramifications take place after that, up to and including incarceration. So again, it's important that you watch your substance use. It's important that you only have a relationship that is professional. And then it's important that you keep your ego in check. If you notice that one of your coworkers or your friends is having a problem with another coworker, it is up to you to help stop them from going too far in the violence cycle. If you are a manager or a foreman, you need to step in immediately and stop that. So there is nothing that will transpire past the verbal altercation. And if you're a company, you need to have a set policy in place to make sure that you are addressing workplace violence. 2 million people is a lot of people for this to happen to every year. Here at the Allied Trades Assistance Program, we have staff that are trained to help intervene in these situations. Again, our number is 1-800-258-6376 or 215-677-8820.